I think I owe you an explanation for what happened earlier.
You do. You had me quite worried. You mean when you collapsed in battle? That you do indeed. Go on, out with it. Make it quick. I'm busy.
You should know that something happened to me at the tower before you came along. You spoke to Petra, did you not? She told you I saved her from a demon.
Who's
did.
Petra? I don't really remember
I did not
this.
survive that encounter.
You're dead? Wynne is dead? But you're standing right here. You're undead. Ah, this case of death is taking a while to kick in then. That's a very bad joke, Wynne.
No, I'm not undead. If I were a possessed walking corpse and could still think, I'd kill myself. I engaged a very powerful demon to rescue Petra. It sapped me of all my energy and will and left me drained.
Right, that Petra.
Took everything I had to defeat it. And when I was done, I no longer had the strength to keep my heart beating. I remember my life ebbing away. Everything receded from me. Sound, light. I remember being enveloped in complete, impenetrable darkness. And then I sensed a presence enfolding me and cradling me, whispering quietly to me. The sensation is impossible to describe.
I just described it.
Held back, firmly but gently, as a mother would a child, eager to slip from her grasp.
Aww.
I felt life and warmth flowing through my veins again.
That's sweet,
I
but
began
what was
to
it?
be aware of small sounds and the discomfort of my hip pressing into the cold stone of the tower floor.
That's an amazing story. So you were never really completely dead then? So you're alive. What's the problem?
The Fade contains spirits both benevolent and malicious. The benevolent spirits seldom make themselves known, because they want nothing from mortals, unlike the demons. It was one of these spirits that saved me. Without it, I would be dead. And it has not
so you
left
are
me.
alive, then.
It is with me, even now.
Ah, fair enough.
Bonded to me.
That's fair.
You see, I am supposed to be dead. It is the spirit that is keeping me in this world. And this is not the way of things.
Oh.
Perhaps the spirit did not expect this,
So didn't
but
think you
it
were
is
supposed to
weakening
die back in the circle.
gradually. I am
So you're gonna
living
die?
on borrowed time.
Oh no! Then we'll make the best of that time. I can't believe you kept this from me. How long will the spirit last? So you're going to die soon? No surprise there. Oh, ouch, the coldness. What about your son? Oh god, I can't remember his name. I remember the chick's name. She was like Evangeline or something like that. What was his name? Oh, I don't remember your son's name, but he was pretty cool. The one who befriends Cole in one of the books. Does he know? Does he know? I suppose you haven't seen him since that happened, so no, he wouldn't know. But you should really tell him, Wynne, because that's some serious shit that he needs to know about. Actually, that book takes place after Origins. She goes to the White Spire, which is the big mage tower in Orlais. I don't know if it's in Val Royeaux or not. I don't remember that part. And that's where he is, and she goes and visits him. Maybe she does tell him. I can't remember. It happens at the end of the book, right before Fiona is like an uber bitch and instigates why I don't like Fiona. But oh my god, sorry, I'm just talking like about stuff you don't know. Anywho, we'll make the best of that time.
Yes, that we will.
So, okay, Wynne will not last long, it seems. It's a bit sad. Okay, well, did you have anything else to chat about?
What's on your mind?
Why did the spirit choose to help you?
I have always had an affinity for the spirits of the Fade.
This I know.
As a child, I never feared my dreams because I knew they were there.
What about demons? I've never experienced that before. You must have been a strange child.
I've always been able to feel the spirits, even if I never saw them. And as I nurtured my talent in the circle, I became more sensitive. I began to notice every time I was in the Fade, whether it was in a dream or in magical practice, that I was being watched.
Creepy. Are you sure it wasn't evil? Do spirits watch people like that?
I suppose they must. It is these benevolent spirits that create our dream worlds in the Fade. Sometimes I would see it, a glowing, nebulous form. Most times I would just feel its presence, gentle and comforting, but somehow alien. I think it is a spirit of faith. They have never been seen before, and perhaps I am wrong. But something tells me I'm not. It always felt like the same entity. This one spirit was curious about me, and was guarding me, for want of a better word.
I do think that's cute. You're very lucky. Well, aren't you special? You mean it protected you?
There were times when I was in the Fade that it seemed to stretch forth to shield me, keeping me safe.
Aww.
And I think it gave me strength in my most terrible battles,
That's so
Ostagar
sweet.
being one of them.
So this spirit of faith is your personal protector, and also in your fight with Petra's demon. I suppose it felt it wasn't your time yet.
I don't know why I was chosen. Perhaps it knew that there was something more that lay in store for me.
Yes, it's
I
a big
like to think that
battle.
I was given a rare chance, and I'm going to make the best of the time so generously given to me.
Go for it, Wynne. I am all for that. I can't believe you're spending it here on the road, fighting Darkspawn. I'm glad you think traveling with me is worthy of your time.
I will not lie motionless in a bed with coverlets up to my chin, waiting for death to claim me. That is not the death for me. And so I will fight alongside the Grey Warden, and help prepare her for the task that is yet before her. So you had better listen to me, because I swear, if I should fall before the end and you don't seem to be doing things properly, I'll get up again to give you a good finger wagging.
Oh no, not with the finger wagging. I'll hold you to that promise. That will be something to see indeed. You're joking, right? Because that's disturbing.
You know, I think you'll be all right, even without my help.
Thanks, Wynne. Aren't you a nice warm one? +3 approval!
What's on your mind?
I don't know what is on my mind. Is there something we can do to cure you? Oh, how I doubt
Cure
that.
me? What, am I sick now?
In a sense, you're a little dead. I guess death isn't an illness, is it?
Even you know that you cannot cure the dead. And I'm not the only one dying. You are too. I'm just more efficient about it. Ah, child. Your concern is heartwarming. But death comes to everyone, and it is not something to fear.
You're not afraid? I'd rather be alive, really. I don't fear death. It's the dying that scares me. Agreed. I agree with that, but...
People fear not death, but having life taken from them. Many waste the life given to them, occupying themselves with things that do not matter. When the end comes, they say they did not have time enough to spend with loved ones, to fulfill dreams, to go on adventures they only talked about. But why should you fear death if you are happy with the life you have led? If you can look back on everything
She's
and
so
say,
philosophical.
yes, I am content. It is
Wow.
enough.
She's intense. Because we always want more? Are you content? I think it depends on the person you are.
I think I've led a good life, a full life, and I, for one, am not afraid of death, whatever it may bring. They say that when you die, your spirit travels through the Fade and returns to the Maker. And after that, we'll see, won't we?
I guess we will. She approves. No, it's previous approval. I think it's additional
What's on
approval.
your mind?
I was talking about Grey Wardens. Oh, wow. And do you have any regrets at all? Apparently we're talking about a lot with Wynne
I
at the
try not
moment.
to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret.
Your son.
The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else.
Tell me, it might make you feel better. What did you do? And all along, I thought you were perfect.
Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anaren. He was my first apprentice. Anaren was an elf, raised in one of the Elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority.
So not your son. I thought that would have been your biggest regret. And you took him from his people and put him in the tower. Yeah.
What Anaren needed was time. Time to get used to his new home, time to emerge from his shell, so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant, He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential just to be difficult.
And what did he think of you? Was he talented?
Oh, very much so. Sometimes I would catch him practicing on his own, but if I asked him to show me what he could do, he would freeze up or fumble terribly. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him.
What happened to Anarin?
Anarin ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly
And he
unimportant.
died. Or turned into a blood
He was a
mage.
child, 14 at the time of his leaving.
Oh, wow.
They had his phylactery, and they hunted him
Killed
down.
him. Oh my god, because he was an apostate. He's dead then. Who hunted him down? Why didn't they just bring him back to the tower?
They called him Maleficar,
I was
a
wondering if it would be
mage who
going that far.
practices forbidden magic, deserving of death. He was a child, misunderstood and lost. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I got no answers from them. I was his mentor, and they wouldn't even tell me what became of him.
It's not your fault, Wynne. That was cruel of them. Hey, well, I guess you learned your lesson.
I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed in error.
That's true.
All I had to do was listen to him. He would try to talk to me, and I would tell him to concentrate on his spells.
I must admit, you're very
He talked
long-winded,
about
Wynne.
the alienage sometimes,
Just get on with it.
and the Dalish. He always talked about looking for the Dalish elves.
Maybe he did find the Dalish. I think it's time to forgive yourself.
The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him.
But it cost him his
In
life.
a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student.
See, there is a bright side. The Maker's sacrifice worthwhile. Oh, the Maker's sacrifice was worthwhile. This is getting maudlin. It's getting very maudlin.
And there it is. My story, my one greatest regret.
And yet we still have more to ask of Wynne. Wynne's regret. It's a quest? What? Help Wynne find closure. Wynne spoke to you about the first pupil she took under her wing, an elf named Anarin. She was quite harsh on him and drove him away from the circle. Anarin spoke of the Dalish elves and dreamed of finding them. However, Wynne believes that he never managed to find them, and that he was hunted down and killed by the Templars. Oh, so we've got to figure that out. Where the hell would you like me to go? To the Dalish camp?
What's on your
I
mind?
don't know. But I was just thinking about being a Grey Warden.
Is something troubling you?
Everyone expects so much from me. I don't know. It's just difficult sometimes. Sometimes I wish I could go back to my old life. No, I think it was the best thing that happened to me.
No one said it would be easy. You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight.
I don't give up easily. I didn't have a choice, which is true. I will be ready when the time comes.
And that gives me hope.
Well, I'm glad I can give you some hope, Wynne, before you pass on. Hey, +2.
Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old?
What's there to hear? Only what I've heard in the old tales. I know they soared through the skies on griffins. I know they were more respected in the old days.
It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago.
Go on. Does the story have griffins in it? You're not going to tell it now, are you? I have no time for stories.
Maker's mercy, it's like talking to a child.
Well, you are old enough to be my grandmother. So, does it have griffins in it or not? If it doesn't have griffins in it, I don't want to hear it. I don't really care if there are griffins in it.
Yes, there are griffins in this story.
Yay!
The Blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above,
I want
it
a griffin.
illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums, and stood before the armies of men.
Griffins? And what happened then? That's not sound strategy. Why not flank the darkspawn?
That's not the point of the tale. The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead, and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back, and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled.
Oh my god. Nonsense. Both sides always take losses. When did this happen? I like happy endings. Well, no, because the Grey Wardens obviously died in the process.
This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden.
Lovely. Thanks for the burden, Wynne. Glad you could just throw that one on me. Skill acquired. Who, me or her? Who acquired a skill? Wynne. Why did Wynne acquire a skill? A skill in what? I don't know.
What's on your mind?
As a Grey Warden, I'll never lead a normal life, will I?
No, you won't.
Wow, you're blunt. I could try, but it wouldn't work. But I don't think I was ever meant to be normal. I already knew the answer. Don't know why I asked. And that makes me sad.
I don't think so either. You would not have been happy living a dull, uneventful life.
Damn straight.
Dying in obscurity. You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are.
A little. It's on my mind constantly. No, I like my life.
When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have.
And this upset you? Grass is always greener on the other side. I don't think you're missing out.
It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers.
Did you find anything? The Tantra doesn't offer much of either. You must have come to terms with your life eventually. It's hard to imagine you as a moody youth.
I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish.
And that made you feel better? I think she's right. Only the weak accept their fates. Ugh, can't get enough of that religious claptrap.
I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish.
Yeah, of course
I
you
was
did.
15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left. but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest.
Yeah.
But we weren't. There was much about us that was the same.
I suppose priests have to give up a lot too. Priests have to choose to be priests. Mages don't. All this sappy nonsense is going to make me hurl.
The revered mother had lived in the chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty. And there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness.
That doesn't sound healthy. Would you hate me if I said you were full of rubbish? It won't be easy to live that way.
You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden, or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice.
It's true. I've been pretty bitter about it up to this point. So I accept that, Wynne.
What's on your mind?
Are we done? Oh yes, thank
It
God.
is no trouble.
Go away. Okay. Does anyone else have anything to yap on about since I'm here? How about you, Stem? We got some approval from you.
You called.
I can't find your sword yet. I'm sorry, I haven't gone to Orzammar yet, but I will get there. I want to discuss something you mentioned. You mentioned something else.
Speak then.
Why do you let the Tamasrans control your life?
What makes it mine? It was theirs to begin with.
You don't belong to them. Are you a slave? What does that mean?
They knew me before I was born. I was birthed on the day they chose, placed in the world by their hands. When I die, it will be the Tamasrans who note my passing. I am their work. What I do is for my people, always.
You never do anything for just for yourself? That sounds terrible. They made you, but they can't make decisions for you.
No need. I have been trained to choose as they would.
That's true.
There is little point in pursuing this. We should move on.
Okay.
As you wish.
That's not going to get me any approval. Oh, and yet he does.
You called.
How about that, Sten? Okay, we're going to continue this conversation apparently.
Speak then.
No, we're not.
Then I suggest we move on.
We're done.
As you wish.
Okay. Wow, we learned a bit about Sten right there. Leliana. Anything about Marjolaine?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Is there something you wanted to talk about?
I'd like to talk about what happened today.
It's nothing. I'm fine. I'm just thinking.
What about? Do share. You're less talkative than usual.
I can't get what happened out of my head. I'd been in Lothering for years, and she still thought I was plotting against her. She didn't trust me. Maybe she never did.
She's batshit crazy, don't worry.
She loved me when she could use me and control me. And now that she can't, she wants me dead. It hurts to realize that I never really knew her.
Doesn't surprise me. Sometimes people surprise you. Maybe you did and didn't want to admit it. Is there anything I can do? Get over it. We have work to do.
You are already helping so much by listening to me. I knew she was ruthless, but I didn't know how far she could go. She is self-serving, cruel. She uses people, then discards them. But that's how she survives in the life she leads. What if she's right? What if we're the same? I should just have stayed in the chantry.
The fact that you're questioning whether you're the same tells me that you're not, Leliana. But you said the Maker wanted you to leave. She would have attacked you there eventually. And you think that would have made it better?
I could have been wrong about the Maker. I know you doubt me sometimes. Maybe you're right. Maybe I just tell myself he's there to console myself, to know there's someone watching out for me, to know I'm not alone.
Okay, let's not go into my thoughts on religion in general. You're not alone, Leliana. Don't lose your faith now. Oh, just get on with your life. That's right, you don't need the Maker.
But I was alone and desperate when I fled to Ferelden. I went to the only place I knew would take me. I forgot my life as a bard while I was in the cloister. I felt safe. I didn't have to watch my back all the time. That's what made Marjolaine the person she is, don't you see? It ruined her. It will ruin me too. Even now, I feel some regret at not ending her life in order to protect my own.
There's nothing wrong with that. What's important is that you didn't act on it. I told you we should have killed her. That mistake can always be rectified later.
Isn't there? It's the first step down this dark path. First thought, then action.
Not necessarily,
What we're doing, what we've done.
Just because you think it
Hunted
doesn't mean
men
you're ever
down.
going to do it.
Kill them. Part of me loves it. It invigorates me, and this scares me. I feel myself slipping.
Marjolaine chose who she became. So can you. You're not slipping. This is who you are. You're a good person. You always will be. Don't punish yourself for doing something you enjoy.
How can you be so sure?
You left the Chantry to help others. That means something. Evil doesn't worry about not being good. You strive to be good, and that's what's important. Oh, I like all those options.
Do you really think so? Hearing you say that gives me comfort. I would like to be alone for now. I have many things to consider. Thank you for listening to me.
You're welcome. I'm going to chat to you straight away, even though you want to be left alone. +7. Awesome.
So, you and Alistair?
Yes. Why that impish look?
You and Alistair. Together, looking contented. You even have a glow about you.
Aw,
So
we have
shameless.
a glow. So shameless. He does make me very happy. I'm not glowing. I think that's a side effect of the joining. Shameless?
So, how is Alistair?
He looks fine to me. You said he looked happy. What do you mean? I know what she means.
You know what I mean.
I do.
Alistair and you, those long nights. He must be quite delightful. He wouldn't be so happy otherwise, I think.
Oh dear.
He's athletic. That's always nice. He's also good at following instructions, isn't he?
Oh, poor Alistair. I'm very happy with his performance. Sometimes he gets too excited to listen. It's like a dog. I don't have to discuss this with you. Yes, sometimes he has brilliant ideas of his own too.
Ooh, fascinating. The little Templar is all grown up and apparently he plays well with others. He must keep me updated on any new developments.
Oh, wow. Really, Liliana? You really want to go down that path?
You've seen
That's
and
cute.
touched Andraste's ashes.
Yes.
They are the holiest thing on this earth.
Yes, I actually
The
have literally
remains
touched
of the
them.
Maker's chosen.
How can something so mundane have power? It's quite remarkable, yes. They're just the ashes of some woman. I would not have disturbed them but for the Owl's sake. True.
I know. It seems almost irreverent to use her as a curative. And it is also a tiny bit morbid. I do not know if I am
Only a
worthy
tiny
to
bit.
look upon her.
Why do you even revere Andraste? She's dead. It doesn't matter. Andraste fought for everyone. She belongs to us all.
Yes, of course, but it still is something to be in awe of.
Is that it? That was the extent of the conversation. Okay.
I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you?
We need to talk about what?
Of course.
What will you do when this is all over?
I have not given this a lot of thought. What will I do? We've traveled far and wide. Does it need to end?
I would like to see the world too. It's so wonderful to hear you say that. I don't know if I'm interested in more death.
There's so much out there. Adventures to be had and stories to be told. I want to be part of it all. I might need some company. And you're not too irritating. You're welcome to
Thank
come
you.
along if you like.
Thanks for that. I'm apparently not too irritating, meaning that I'm mildly irritating. Thanks, Lily. I would love to. When you put it that way, how can I say no? Let's just try to stay alive for now.
It is settled then. You and I wandering the world, seeking our fortunes. I can't wait.
Oh, well, you never know. Gotta get through the blight first, eh?
I know that look. You have something on your mind,
I
don't
do.
you?
You read me well.
Of course.
I heard some rumors about Orlesian spies.
There are many rumors about spies, Orlesian or otherwise. What are you referring to exactly?
They say you will do almost anything to achieve your goals. Something I heard that made spies seem dangerous. That you're pretty despicable and can't be trusted?
I admit I have done many despicable things in my lifetime. I do what I have to do. So do you. So does everybody. Sometimes we must do terrible things to get what we want. If it is any consolation, I always try to use non-violent means to achieve my ends.
What sort of non-violent means? It even takes more effort, though. That's good to hear.
Some bards rely on torture to get what they want. It works effectively, as many will bend under the threat of bodily harm. But there are better ways, more subtle and kind. You will be surprised how easily a person will open up to you, even if all you offer is a listening ear. People respond eagerly to others who they believe understand them. They seek approval, friendship, sometimes love. This can be exploited.
Good to know. And this is better than violence. How do you live with yourself?
It is a game, one that can be won with little bloodshed if one plays well.
You manipulated people, tricked them. You thought it was a game? At least violence is honest.
Isn't it? Everyone can be seduced by the right woman. The trick is predicting who she is and becoming her. Master the game, and no one can resist you.
So, how does this help us kill Darkspawn again? And would you say you've mastered this game? I could never do that.
If I might be so bold, yes, I was quite good at it. Sometimes, all I had to do was toss a glance and a smile. Men read promises into such things and will go to great lengths to see that promise fulfilled.
Maybe you could smile at the blight and tell it to go away.
I could... what? Oh, aren't you funny? I see your point. We will slay this darkspawn using conventional means, pointy sticks and all that.
Yes.
But come, it is getting late and there is much to be done.
Okay, I think we are done grilling poor Leliana. I think Zev is next on my list, although I don't know if he has much to say.
What say you?
Do I have any other questions?
By all means.
What is your opinion of the Dalish?
I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts.
Oh my god.
All this tale in the book.
Oh my god, that's horrible. Was the woodcutter your father? So you're an assassin and a son of a whore.
Is it? It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the whorehouse.
That's true.
I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear.
You've had a very shitty life. Did you know that, Zev? I'm so sorry for you, Zevran. What does this have to do with the Dalish? And you're oddly cheerful about it.
It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did
Also
not
a
fetch
good
a
point.
decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of
No,
contentment,
but
after all.
damn, it was a lot better than yours. You can say that again.
My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again.
But how do you feel about the Dalish in general? Has there been no joy in your life at all? But you don't think of yourself as Dalish? Well, no, because you'd have to grow up with Dalish elves to feel like that.
I don't feel anything about them. Oh, we heard about them in the city, even deep in Antiva. I even had the notion once to run off and join them.
Really?
Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
Okay, interesting. That was a little interesting. I don't think he has anything else to discuss. And then, does Alistair have anything to say about our return to Ostagar?
My love?
No, not a single thing at all.
Of course.
Nothing. Nothing at all. Wow, Alistair, that's cold. That's really cold. But anywho, after we've just like spent hours and hours and hours in discussion with my entire party, that's where we'll end the episode. So we've finished Return to Ostagar, we've had a chat with our companions about the events of the past few episodes, and I think it's time that we headed to Orzammar. Thanks so much for watching this ep, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.